Okay, hello folks and welcome to this lecture. So this is the theoretical lecture before we can start to move further in the AWS console. So this lecture is on Identity Access Management, often referred to as IAM. You might be wondering what is a 101 mean. So basically in places like Australia or UK and all, uh, is in institutions whenever you are learning a new topic, it's for example, like accounting 101 or engineering 101. So identity 101 means this is a introductory topic to identity access management. So what is a IAM? Well, basically IAM allows you to manage users and their level of access to the AWS console. And it is really important to understand IAM and how it works, both for the exam and for administrating a company's AWS account in real life. Basically, if you are going to use AWS, you need to understand IAM because IAM allows you to set up users, groups, permissions, and roles. It basically allows you to grant access to different parts of the AWS platforms. So identity access management offers in the following features. It gives you central control of your AWS account. It gives you shared access to your AWS account. It gives you in-depth permissions. So you can say, okay, I want people to be able to access this service, but I don't want people to be able to access the service, these sets of people to not have access to the service. Here we can use modular permissions to achieve that. So we can give set of permissions to a unique set of people or a group, and they will be able to access the service and the rest won't be able to access the service. It gives you identity federation. So what do you mean by that? Actually, it just means that you can use Active Directory or Facebook, social networking applications, etc. to access the applications. So within identity access management, you potentially your users could log into the AWS console using the same username and password that they use to log into their Windows PC. So that's just adding Active Directory, or it means that your end users, let's say you have developed a mobile game or something, and it is storing information on AWS. So you can your set of users can log in using their Facebook credentials to the AWS console. IAM also gives you multi-factor authentication. So this means that whenever you are logging into AWS Management Console, you need a username and a password and a special code in order to log in. And uh, so it's like a secondary layer of authentication. It provides like a uh, temporary access for users or device and services whenever it is necessary. And particular example of that again is if somebody is using a mobile phone app and they are storing data in your AWS account. You only want them to be able to do that and we're using the app itself. So you set up a temporary access and it allows you to set up and it allows you to access the services. It also allows you to set up your own password rotation policies. So you may want to want your users to change their password every 3 months or every 3 weeks or some criteria. So it is entirely up to you. It integrates with various uh, different AWS services, and it supports PCI DSS compliance. So uh, what is a PCI DSS compliance? So it is a basically a compliant framework that you need to be compliant so that you can access the services and all. So for example, uh, like taking bank account details and all. So those are basically part of PCI DSS compliance. So we are going to learn some key terminologies for IAM. There are really four key terms that we need to learn. So one is user, and this is just simply end users such as people, employee of an organization, etc. We then have groups. So this is a collection of users. So each user in the group will inherit the permission of the group. So you might have a group that is able to access S3, and you might have another group that is able to access EC2. So if so long as the users are in the part of that group, that user will inherit the permissions of the group and they can access. So you set the permissions in the group and it will be cascaded down to the users basically. We then have policies. So policies are made up of these things called documents. Policy documents are basically stored in the form of JSON templates. So we will be looking at them later on, and basically it gives you permission as to what a user group or role is able to do. So you can modify the template as per your requirements, and uh, the policies will be applied based on the templates that you use. So policies are basically a permissions and that the services will be using. Then we have roles. So roles are basically roles are basically you create a role and assign them to AWS resources. So role is a way of allowing one part of AWS to do something with another part. So you might give a virtual machine inside AWS the ability to write files to S3, which is a type of storage within AWS. We are going to have a look at that in the EC2 section of the course. Uh, so that's the end of this section here. Thank you. Okay, hello folks and welcome to this lecture. We are finally going to start getting on hands with AWS. And in this lecture, we are going to learn all about identity access management. As mentioned in the previous lecture, this is one of the most important AWS services because this service gives you access to control permissions to all other services and to also create users, groups and roles. So let's go ahead and get started. So here I am with the AWS console, and if you look up, you will be able to see your regions. I would always suggest using US East as your main region. Uh, Northern Virginia is the primary region, basically one of the oldest region, and like I said before, the reason for that is this is where all the new products and services are launched first. So this is always the most up-to-date region, and this is also the region that goes down most of the time for maintenance and all. So if you want to find identity access management, just click up the services. You can also use the search bar in the field, or just click on the all services option. This will open up all the different services that are available in the AWS. So there will be a lot many services. You don't have to know each and every services. You don't have to panic and all, because it is not possible to learn each and every services. You only have to learn the services that are important from the certification point. So now we are looking for security. You can see it here. It has got the shield icon. So in security, identity and compliance, and that's we are going to go ahead and do is click on the IAM link, and that will take us to this splash screen, and you will be able to see in here uh, that this is the landing page. Now you got a sign in link. This is the link that you can send to your users, so the IAM user sign in link, we have marked the link so that for privacy to maintain privacy. Now uh, this is the it is simply basically your account number, then signin.aws.amazon.com/console. So this is the standard URL. You can actually go in here and customize it. So you could do an account, click on the customize link in the right side. It will create alias of it. So you can give in an alias. If you already, if somebody is already using that alias, so you won't be able to access it. So you will be able to know because in the downward it will prompt you like this alias has already been taken or something like that. And once you decide the alias name, just click on create. So then you will be redirected to the new URL. So this has now changed the URL, and this is actually a DNS sense. So this is probably accessible URL that people can go into sign into this account. Now the very first thing we are going to do is activate multi-factor authentication, or MFA for short, on our root account. You might be wondering what is a root account. Well, a root account is just the username. It is the email address that you first use to sign up with AWS, and that is the master user. And when you log into the root account, so you will have a lot many elevated access. So it is like a god mode. Like if you go, if you have played various games, like you get god mode for certain duration. So it is like that. You have very high privileges and all, and you can be able to do various tasks. Uh, the one thing now for that reason, you should also set up a MFA authentication to your root account. So in case anybody is trying to access it, any unwanted person cannot access it, because since it has a huge amount of privileges, it might cause trouble for you in the long run. So you should always set up MFA so that it can't be hacked. And you also, for that now for the same reason, you pretty much also don't want anybody else to log into the root account. So you have to create a lot of users and groups, and put those users in the groups, and each group will have certain dedicated accesses and all that they can use. So not everybody will be having all the entire elevated access. So from the organization point of view, only selected people should have those types of accesses. So yeah, so that's all for now. So to enable it, we just click in here and go to the manage MFA button, and it says now you are accessing this security credential page for your AWS account. This is the account credentials provide. This account credentials provide unlimited access to your AWS resources. So just go ahead and click continue, and in here we can see the MFA, multi-factor authentication, and all you need to do is click on activate MFA, and in here you will get three different types. You've got virtual MFA, you've got U2F, a security key, and you have got other hardware MFA devices. I would just use the virtual MFA, and you can download the Google Authenticator app or the Microsoft Authenticator from the Google Play Store or the App Store. Just type in Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator in the search and download it. So once you've downloaded that, go ahead and click continue, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the show QR code. The instructions are given in the in the help text, so you can read through that and proceed. Now what I would do before you open the app is I would take a photo of this QR code and store it in somewhere, or if you are using the latest version of Android or iOS, you can just open the app and there is option to scan the QR code. Scan the code displayed here, and yeah, and you can always go next and save it. So once you have installed Google Authenticator on your phone, you will see a screen similar to the screen shown here. Just click on the plus button in the top, and you can scan the code uh, and they have set up the MFA. Then all once done, the screen will now say that activated MFA is ticked, and you have successfully assigned the virtual MFA. So the MFA will be required during sign in. So from so go ahead and hit close, and then you will come to this landing page. Notices here that you can change your in change your password, and this is to change your password for the root user. So everything uh, just uh, just come out of just click on the dashboard here, and you can see that we have got a new green tick here, and it says the activated MFA on our root account. So just follow the instructions present in the screen, and you will be able to set up MFA. It is like a two-factor authentication. Uh, so the next thing we want to do is go in and create an individual IAM user. So let's click on that and go ahead and manage our users. I'm going to go ahead and add my user, and my username is going to be my name. So let's say username is what I'm going to put in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and select my AWS access type. Now what we are using right now is called the management console. The AWS management console, you can also enable programmatic access. So we are going to enable both just for this user. Now we are going to use programmatic access in the EC2 section of the course. EC2 is just virtual machines, so that is coming up, but we won't cover it up in this section. But I do just want to show you what happens when you enable programmatic access. You are going to be creating an access key ID and a secret access key, and you will use these to interact with the AWS console. In here we have got our password. I'm just going to do an auto generate password. and in here it says require a password reset. The user must create a new password at next sign in. So not only does it auto generate a password for that user, it is also going to make sure that that they change it when they first sign in. Next, we are going to go ahead and add our permissions. We haven't created a group yet, so it's going to say add users to a group. Let's go ahead and create a group, and this group I am going to call it my group name. I'm going to call it developers. So developers really need administrator access to AWS, and that is where we add our policies. And if it's got this little AWS uh, logo here, it means that it is an AWS managed policy. So we want to add administrator access. Now you can add based on different job roles. So in here you can see the type job function, and then you have got AWS managed. So try scrolling to the bottom, and I guarantee you it's going to take some time. That is how, so a lot of many policies are there. So we are just going to do administrator access, but if you want, but if I was to type in something like billing, you can see a job function in billing here. Or if you got your database administrator, just type in database administrator. It's a job function, so there are a number of different job functions to save your time. If you want to know a list of all the job functions, just type in into Google IAM job functions, and you will get uh, different types. So let's go ahead and create this group. We are creating the developers group, and we are giving them full administrator access. That has now created our groups, and now we are going to add this to group. We are going to go ahead and hit next, and we are going to go ahead and create user, and that's now added our user. In here you will see that we have got our access key ID and our secret access key. This is for our programmatic access to AWS. You are only ever going to see it one time. So you can just click here and download a CSV file, or you can delete it and recreate one whenever you need it. So you see that's downloaded down there. Store that for later. We will go through and probably create a entirely new user, and when we get to the section of the course, also there is we can also use email login instruction, and if you click on the link, it's going to open up your mail client and email them login instructions as well. If you want to see your users password, just click on the show password, which is off to the left of the send email link. So let's go ahead and click hit on close button. We now have our users in here. So we have got username. He's a member of the developer group, and nothing else has been added. We got back to our dashboard. We can see that we have created an individual IAM user, and we also use groups to assign permissions. I just want to quickly show you a bit into policies. So we are in the administrative access policies to the group, where when we create the group, if you want to see more about the policy, just click on this little down here. This is a Java script. Uh, it's a JavaScript object notion file or a JSON file, which we were talking about before, and it basically is a whole bunch of key value pairs. So this is the version of the policy. This is the statement. We've got on square brackets, and we got our curly brackets, and again we got more key value pairs. So these key value pairs are under the statement. So this is what we call nesting inside JSON. So we have got our effects and allow. The action is star, so a wildcard. So we are saying allow everything, and the action uh, and the action we are allowing anything on and for the resources, well, we are allowing anything. So here also uh, allowed is start. So this is the most powerful administrator template, most powerful policy in short, that you can have in AWS. You're saying allow you to do anything which with any resource within AWS. So this is the administrator access. So let's go back to dashboard. We have created an IAM user, we have created a group, and then the last thing we want to do is just apply the IAM password policy. We go ahead and click on manage password policy in here. We can now say that we want our minimum password length to be like 12 characters. We want one uppercase, we want one lowercase, we want one number, we want one alphanumeric characters, etc. So in here we can have password expiration, we can prevent our password reuse, we can have that password requires an administrator reset. So you can change in here all the different password policies. So I'm just going to go ahead and click apply, and if you and if we go and click our dashboard, we have now 5 green ticks. So we have achieved our 5 out of 5 goal. Now in case you are wondering where is my actual password that I need to send to my users, so if you open up that CSV file, you will be able to see it here. Here's the password that has been auto generated. Here's my access key ID. I want you to think of it as just the username that we are going to use programmatically access. So programmatic access means if you are using any libraries or APIs that you want to connect to the AWS, so you can use the credentials like secret key access or access key ID and the login URLs to access to the services using a API or a library. So the AWS console, and we have a secret access key. Again, this is just like a password that you're using to programmatically access the AWS, ecosystem, AWS ecosystem and all. Then we have also got our console link, login link. So all you need to do is send your user this console login link, their username and their password. If for some reason you lose that information or you didn't save it, click on users, go ahead and click on the user in there, and you can actually just click on their username and you can proceed further. And in here you will be able to go in and change the security credentials by clicking up here. So we have got our security credentials in here. Our console password, we can go ahead and hit manage, and we can actually set it. So we can create our own custom one if we wanted. We can auto generate a new one. We can even enable or disable the console. And likewise with our access key, if you have lost your access key, uh, you can delete that, and you can make it inactive, and you can again recreate that using create access key. So since we won't be needing it for now, we will make it as mark as inactive, because if anybody has the key, they can access your AWS account. So you should not use it everywhere. Now with your access key ID and your shared key, you can if you click on the inactive option, so you won't be able to log into the console with the same access key. So let's keep it inactive here for now. In fact, I'm also going to make it we can delete it, so that once we need it later, we will just recreate another one. The very last thing I want you to show is roles. So roles are a way for one AWS service to go ahead and use another AWS service. So we are going to use this in the EC2 section of the course, where we are going to allow our little VM to talk to S3. Let's go ahead and just create a role. So we're going to click on create role. Now in here we are going to say choose the service that will use this role. So I would like to, it's going to be EC2. So that's what we are going to use in the next later sections. So I'm going to go ahead and click on next, and then in here I want to type it as S3. And since we want S3 full access, we are going to use an AWS manage policy. Again, that's got the little icon there, which means that that's an AWS managed policy. You can create your own policy which are customer managed. I'm not going to do that in this course. That's but that is definitely possible. So just go ahead and hit and click on review, and the role name, just give it a unique name. Let's say like S3 admin access. And now I'm going to go ahead and create the role. So that role now has been created. You can see it here. We are going to use it not in the section, but in the later sections. So what we have learned so far? Well, we have learned that IAM is universal. It does not apply to region at this time. So when you create a user, you are creating the user globally. Same when you create a role or when you create a group. We learned that the root account is simply the account created when you first set up your AWS account. It has the complete administrator access and it's always using your email address. So that's sometimes called the root account email address and the password that you configured. We also learned that the new users have no permissions when first created. We had to give our user special permission, and to do that we created a administrator access policy. We assigned it to the developer group. We also learned that new users are assigned an access key ID and secret access key when first created. They use this to programmatically access the AWS ecosystem. And again, this is completely optional. You can just say, okay, I want you not want access console access, or I want programmatic access. So those are the two different types of accesses. You can have one, you can have the other, or you can have both of them at the same time. So that's console access and programmatic access. We also learned that the user access key ID and secret access keys are not the same as the passwords. So you can't use the access key ID and the secret access key to log into the console. You can only use it via code, and I'll show you. We will show see like how it works later in the latest sections. Remember that you only get to view the user password and the access key ID and the secret key once. If you lose them, you are going to have to regenerate them. So make sure you save it in a save the CSV file in a secure location. Also, always set up MFA authentication to your root account. Remember, your root account has all the privileges. So if somebody hacks your emails, they can do a password reset, and you will be in a lot of trouble. So you always want MFA to make sure it is well secure. For MFA, you will need a smartphone, and you also just need to download the Google Authenticator app and the Microsoft Authenticator app, and then uh, you can just create and customize, create your MFA, set up your MFA. You can also set up your own password rotation policies. So we went in and we make sure our passwords, had 12 characters and uppercase or alphanumeric characters, numbers, etc. So we can set them as well. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel for upcoming videos. If you have any queries, please post them in the comments. Thank you for watching and we will see you next time.